I think fundamentally this is a good company. I don't think they're going anywhere, and I think they have a big opportunity ahead of themselves. So I'm not in a rush to do anything here. Welcome back in, investors. So yes, today I am buying my first stock of 2024, and it's definitely getting harder and harder to find what I believe to be opportunities or distressed stocks that are on sale. To me, the market as a whole is definitely a little expensive, and I think there's a lot of question marks going into an election year. We obviously know about political tensions, we have wars going on, obviously dealing with financial conditions that are in a tightening standard. Yes, things are starting to loosen up, but overall, have we felt all the tightening that's taking place in this economy? And I still believe that recession is a possibility. Now, with that being said, I'm still going to be looking for what I believe to be distressed assets, assets that are on sale. And so I am making my first purchase today, but leave a comment down below. Let me know if there's any opportunities that you're personally looking at or any stocks that you're personally building into. Would love to know any opportunities that people are seeing. Now, before we get into exactly what I'm doing here, I want to make it clear. This is not a recommendation to buy or sell stocks. This is my personal journey. This is my personal risk. I highly recommend individuals buying broadly diversified index, dollar cost average, set it, forget it, and see you in 30 years. So before we talk about exactly what stock I'm buying, the process I take here is figuring out intrinsic value of certain companies. And so for this company in particular, I basically have a $45 ideal price target, and then if it got into the 30s, I would average in more. Now, when we look at current valuations of this stock that I'm going to be purchasing here, when we go on a GAAP basis, still about 50% off to its peers. And there's many reasons why this is. Ladies and gentlemen, the stock I'm talking about is Bristol Myers Squibb, currently trading right around $51 a share. As you guys see, my fair market value for the stock is sitting right around 45. So what my plan is here is we're going to average in a few shares at a time. Looking to slowly build into this position and make it right around a 3.5 to a 4% weighting in my portfolio. And so if we see my portfolio here, we have roughly $29,400 in the portfolio. Majority of the money is sitting in a T-bill right now, and that T-bill is going to mature in second week of February. But if we take 1% of that $29,400, we get $294 for our first purchase of Bristol Myers Squibb. As I stated, I'm probably going to be looking to purchase this stock 3 to 5 times on substantial pullbacks. So if the stock gets in the $45 range, most likely I'm going to add another $290 to it. And then if somehow it gets into the low 30s, we're going to be adding another $290 to it once again. So when I look at Bristol Myers Squibb, I can understand why the valuation is sinking here. A lot of things are expiring off their patents. There's some question marks of their future, but management is still guiding for single-digit revenue growth, and that's exactly what I put into my analysis, which gets me right around that $45 price target. Company's basically trading at a 5-year level, and when we go back 5 years, the company was doing $20 to $21 billion of revenue, now doing closer to $46, $47 billion of revenue. So about the same valuation, but revenue stronger. And when we bring it down to an EPS standpoint, EPS has kind of been all over the place, but still pushing close to $3 a share of EPS. And free cash flow has done extremely well in that time frame as well. So the fundamentals of the company to me are actually fairly strong here. If we get any sort of multiple expansion here, we can see that it's trading basically 50% below its peers. So there's definitely opportunity for this stock to turn around on some sort of good catalyst. Now, of course, this is me building a story and speculating, but I feel pretty comfortable building into a position on Bristol Myers Squibb here. And starting to build around this $50 level. And as it gets into the high 30s, slowly dollar cost average into it until I build out right, as I stated, until I build out right around a 3.5 to 4% holding in my portfolio. And for people that are big dividend lovers, we can see for 34 years, this company's paid a dividend. And for the last 7 years, they've actually grown that dividend. And so it's essential for me to see EPS growth going forward, even if it's just a slight growth. When we take a look at a 10-year chart on Bristol Myers Squibb, we can just see over the last few years, buying it basically between $45 and $50 has been a pretty solid buy overall. It's gotten into this range a few different times over the last few years, and we're back at it again, and it can definitely go a little bit lower here, but once again, I'm prepared to buy more, and I'm dollar cost averaging into this position. I'm not trying to time the absolute bottom in this stock. I think fundamentally this is a good company. I don't think they're going anywhere, and I think they have a big opportunity ahead of themselves. So I'm not in a rush to do anything here. We're just slowly going to build out this position. as opportunities present themselves. So for today, we're going to pick up 5 shares of Bristol Myers Squibb. And we got to fill at $51.38 to build out our position here. So as you guys saw, most of my money is in a treasury right now, but we still left some liquidity on the sidelines for opportunities like this. And so I think this is a nice add to the portfolio. Obviously, you guys can see what I'm kind of doing here. We're going more defensive on things here. Looking at underperformers like healthcare, definitely taking short-term treasuries if it's yielding over 5% as well. Don't see anything wrong with that, especially because we're just starting from day one. So we don't need to be buying millions of different stocks. To me, there's not a tremendous amount of opportunity out there. I'm not seeing great deals. I find little pockets here and there, and Bristol Myers Squibb is kind of fitting in an ideal price range. As I stated, ideally, I'd like to see it get down to 45, possibly add 5 or 6 more shares. And then if it got to the low 30s, maybe I would add anywhere between 6 to 10 shares. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that dive in, kind of what my mentality is building into a position here. As I stated, it is really hard to time absolute bottoms. And so we're slowly building into this one. I don't think it's going to run away on us. If anything, I actually think that it could go a little bit lower here. But I do think that the stock itself could be formulating a bottom when we look at the technicals. So we have banks reporting this week as well. That's going to be an interesting tale on the consumer. What are loan losses looking like? So getting an idea what the banks are starting to think about savings rates, the consumer strength is going to be very, very interesting to set up the rest of the quarter. So this will be a fun one to watch. And as always, guys, really appreciate your time, and we will see you in the next one.